recorded live from the secret underground lair of Crimson Cowl Comics and Collectibles. This is the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast.
The following issues may contain spoilers. Run away? Flurkins never run away. I'm Anthony.
I'm Kirby.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Jim.
Welcome to issue number 287 of the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast. Every time we record, we talk about comics. This is our first episode in a brand new year, 2024. So happy New Year to everybody here in this club hangout, as well to everybody listening and watching at home. What we're going to do in this episode, we're going to have a club discussion wrapping up the 4-issue miniseries of Marvel Unleashed. With issue number 4, we're going to do some weekly reviews. That's where we go back and forth and we talk about the books that we've been reading, whether they're new, whether they're old. We're going to talk about them there. Then we have a news segment, and that's we're going to cover our previews preview, part 1 of 2, because this week we're going to do Marvel and DC Comics from the January 2024 catalogs. And then we are going to, on our next available episode, jump into the bigger catalog with the independent publishers and the merchandise, the apparel, and all that fun stuff. And yeah, and those will be for comics coming out in March. So yeah, there we go. This is going to be the show. We're back at it. 2024. We had an awesome 2023 for Crimson Cowl Comic Club, and definitely had a lot of creators on, and sprucing up the videos. We saw David more often, so I'm excited to see what the new year is going to bring. All right, now let's move on to the club discussion. We are going to talk about Marvel Unleashed, issue number 4. When a stray named D-Dog, Captain America's faithful Falcon Redwing, and Captain Marvel's Flerken Chewie teamed up to find another dog's missing person, Myron Darkwater, their search led them to an incapacitated Lockjaw who had been kidnapped by Myron and Craven the Hunter as part of a plan to return the demonic prince, Blackheart, to the mortal realm. If that's not a comic book synopsis, I don't know what is. There's a lot of crazy words in there. To fight Blackheart, the team called in Throg, Frog of Thunder, and Doctor Strange's ghost dog, Bats. But Blackheart imprisoned them in his castle in the 10th Circle, so all they can do is watch as he unleashes his demon army on Earth. This comic was done by Kyle Starks, Jesus Hervas. Let me just double check in case that was a typo. Nope, we're good. We have Yen Nitro and VC's Joe Caramagna. So, issue number 4. Throughout this journey, we have been seeing the pets of the Marvel Universe assemble. Lockjaw was out of commission right at the beginning of our story, so I personally have been waiting for a Lockjaw return in this moment here. We're throwing in a lot of elements here, bringing in Blackheart and going into other realms, and it's just been crazy. And here we are talking about issue number 4 of Marvel Unleashed. Let's kick it off with Kirby, if you are fresh from reading it. So let's get that review right off the top. What do you think of Marvel Unleashed number 4?
Yes, I just finished it. Let me wipe the tears away. I loved it. I loved the way they ended it. They did a great job. I loved it. The way they did Chewie and our feathered friend, I can't think of his name at the moment.
Redwing,
when they're going after the baddies and the guards come out, and you're like, well, come on, Chewie, just do your flirking thing right out the bat. And he has to wait just to play it out with Redwing, just because Redwing's been teasing him this whole time. So, I like how he did that. I'm glad they did that together. The only question I have with when Lockjaw goes home to his master, when his master speaks, is Lockjaw completely immune to it? Is everybody else that's an Inhuman immune to it?
So you're referring to Black Bolt, who at this time may or may not be the king of the Inhumans. I haven't followed what's been,
Yeah,
but generally that's the main title. He's sitting in a single chair, so he's probably, probably has some sort of kingship going on. But that's a great question. Because I haven't. I'm trying to think how people react the other Inhumans and even heroes, whether it's the Avengers.
yeah, 'cause other people can cover their ears and stuff, but Lockjaw can't. And with Lockjaw still being in the room, I'm like, well, that was. So I didn't know if he had a special ability since it is his master.
Yeah, that just might be some of the comic book logic that they just be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it's fine."
Because I would have teleported out of there for a second and then came back if it was me. But yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'll let everybody else talk about it. But I love the ending. They did a perfect job. I'll gladly read any series they do out of this.
yeah. We do end with a. Oh, it does say the end exclamation point for, and
Yep.
I just thought it was a question mark at first, and I'm like, oh no, it is an exclamation point. But
Yeah. And evil fear us wherever it lives. It's like so. I was hoping that there's going to be another story.
uh,
I, I
yep,
I'll let you guys talk first before I mention that.
no problem. Let's jump over to Katie. Thoughts on issue number 4?
Yes, so I really liked this quite a bit. In fact, I enjoyed this whole series. I felt like the ending that they gave D-Dog was very touching. It did make me a little teary-eyed. It was the right balance of emotional and a good payout. Because D-Dog was a very good girl, and now she gets to spend eternity in Valhalla in heaven with the Valkyries. So I thought that was really, really touching. What else? The part with Chewie the Flurkin was hilarious because yeah, it's sort of like he could probably obliterate a good third of these in one go, so that was fun. Um, I like Lockjaw. I feel like his power is consistently underrated, so it was good to see him kind of come in for the final punch to solve the problem with Blackheart. And I thought Throg was pretty badass in this comic. I mean, how can you say that about Frog? But it was pretty good. I mean, there obviously there's a certain amount of suspension of disbelief, but at no point did it ever feel tested for me. It actually did feel genuine, and I love the dynamic all the characters had, especially in this last issue. They really all just balanced well against each other, and I had fun with it. Like I figured this would kind of just be like a goofy series, but it actually I felt like was pretty meaningful and had a good story and contributed something to the canon. But I liked it. What does everyone else think?
Excellent. Let's jump over to Jim. Thoughts?
Yeah, a very, very touching ending. In fact, I did review it on Goodreads after I finished it, the digital copy, and I did put that as the title to my, I said fun and very touching, I think, as the title for my review. Um, and yeah, if you watch the video, I see Anthony had held up a picture of D-Dog on the Rainbow Bridge. And I think it was the last time we talked about this series. We discussed, I think I mentioned that the Rainbow Bridge could be the Bifrost. And it wasn't technically the Bifrost that he was or they were on, but it was the Rainbow Bridge. And Throg did call in the favors, and the whole crew was able to meet D-Dog on the Rainbow Bridge and escort him to the Valkyries who took him to Valhalla. So yes, while I would have liked to see D-Dog become a hero dog in our world, she does get to be a hero in Valhalla.
Yeah, and the last time we talked too, we made predictions because they teased about one of the heroes falling, and mine was Throg because I was trying to pitch to Marvel that they should do a big summer event about the return of Throg and everything, and make it a universe wide uh, tie-in event. But somebody mentioned some of the elements here. Who remembers if they guessed this one at all? Some people say D-Dog, some people said Valhalla. You remember?
I don't remember
Yeah, I think a
exactly
couple
the
of us.
order it came up, but yeah, we did talk about in general, yeah.
I think somebody had mentioned it, but anyways, people can just go back to whatever that episode that was and check it out.
For a second there, it did seem like they were going to kill off Throg, and that
Yeah.
also would have made sense given that situation.
Yeah, I was watching all of the story beats for just like everything they were doing for Throg, and I'm just like, yep, they're setting this up for a big, big death finale for him. But yeah,
I was
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say before I'm done, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get to see more character uh from Lockjaw. We just saw him come in basically and be like the Deus Ex Machina for the story, and I can't think of the bad guy.
Blackheart.
But yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit more character from him. But other than that, yeah, it was great ending.
Yeah, that's what I like this issue because throughout these reviews, I've been just waiting for Lockjaw to be a part of it. I dig the heck out of that character, so it was fun to at least get something out of there. But while being absent for majority of the series, my reactions, I think we've all pretty much been on the same page all the way through, and just been a lot of fun. And once again, assuming that we were going to get a silly book and getting an actual, you know, what would feel like a regular Marvel action comic book that's would star the human characters. So it was fun that they took the serious story and gave it to our animals here. But yeah, I think we pretty much touched on a lot of the things that I really enjoyed about this, and just uh, just the connection of all these characters and the moment I showed earlier. Um, of D Dog and Throg just kind of having that face to face there. I just love how that's framed, and I just love the artwork on that specific moment there. It's pretty powerful, awesome moment. But yeah, Kirby, you had some extra thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to hit the end with Jim. Pretty much caught most of it. I was like, just seeing our characters being able to all go to Valhalla. It's like, why couldn't they go see D Dog again in the future? Is what I was kind of wondering about myself. But yeah, I wish D Dog. I was hoping. My prediction was that D Dog was going to get some type of superpower in the end. There was going to be some type of thing. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a second Ghost Dog. I don't know what can come from Valhalla, but I feel like in the past we've seen the what you call it, the girls that are the fighters,
Valkyries.
and Valkyries. It's like we've seen them come back in movies now. Are those ones that were dead that came back, or are they just ones that are currently there? Because I don't see Valkyrie training or anything when we follow any of the Thor movies and stuff like that in the background. So I was thinking maybe they had a way to do something like that, but who knows? That's what the future.
If they follow up with the Valkyrie thing and talking about the female warriors, and D Dog is a female dog, it would be pretty sweet to see an awesome headdress on D Dog,
leading all the horses and everything through the battle.
Yeah, I forget because in some of the Jane Foster, she became Valkyrie after the Mighty Thor.
Yeah.
Some of her books, she had a pretty awesome horse in her book that was pretty hilarious, and they went back and forth between our realm and Valhalla and stuff like that. I don't know how all the lore fits out, but I could see that for D Dog going forward, is that would be a fun way to, if they do another.
That's just too fun of a character to just say, okay, that's it for D Dog.
It feels like it's a good setup that if they have another book with these animals and they're in a conflict, and then a last page reveal in one of the issues is D Dog in full Valkyrie armor. I mean, that would be
coming with all the Pegasuses to come kick ass.
It feels like they're have left it open for that possibility. So
I don't know how Marvel treats their Valhalla, but in our world, this Norse mythology, the honored dead, the heroic dead, keep coming back to fight battles again and again. It's not just the Valkyries that do it. So if they follow that pattern, yes, D-Dog could come back to fight another battle.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Good.
But Valkyrie D-Dog would be pretty cool too.
Just can't give us a character like that and take it away.
From D-Dog to V-Dog.
Oh.
DD.
That's what I was thinking.
So yeah, anyways, any other thoughts on Marvel Unleashed number 4?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, really good.
Next time, make it longer.
I
Yep.
want
Agreed.
to give it 4 paws up. How about that?
Hey.
But yeah, excellent series. Highly recommend. You don't need to know anything about any of the characters for anybody checking it out. It would be a fun introductory book just to see what comics can do. Cool. All right, so that is going to do it then for Marvel Unleashed. As a little reminder for some upcoming club discussions here, let me get back to my notes. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World is returning this month in January. We're on the possible final stretch, unless they add yet another arc to it. But issue number 11 is going to be coming out sometime this month. We will have Twas the Might before Christmas. The month of December may be over, but that's not going to stop us to talk about some Christmas. So we're going to talk about that one shot. And then I have a plug for this for at the end of the show, but let me dig it out right here. As a club discussion is Tales from the North, a comic that is from Crimson Cowl Media, David Gloyd and David Gloyd II. This is their first printed comic book. You can go to crimsoncowl.com to check out free web comics involving these characters that originated from David Gloyd II's RPG campaigns. But this story is brand new and it's in print. And if you would like a copy, just respond to wherever you see us in Crimson Cowl media, whether that be Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and I think that was everything. And and reach out and we can get the information and you can get a copy. But we are going to talk about that in a future club discussion. David reached out to me and just kind of gave me some, what his schedule is going to look like, so we can try to plan that and make sure everybody's here who wants to be here for that. So those are the upcoming club discussions. We will pick some more as we continue to go through the previous catalogs. I know there's one I'm going to recommend from DC Comics that might be a sure thing, but we'll get there later in this episode. But that is going to do it for the club discussion. Let's jump over to the weekly reviews. First up for my weekly reviews is something that I am very excited for. I've been waiting for because on this very show, I've given praise for a graphic novel called Mayor Goodboy. And then following up for Mayor Goodboy was Mayor Goodboy Goes Hollywood. And then at the end of the Hollywood book, we had the announcement right there that, yes, we were getting at least another volume in this series. And that's what I'm here to talk about. Mayor Goodboy Turns Bad. Ooh. Everyone's favorite dog mayor is back in this hilarious graphic novel series featuring all new hijinks and all new fun. Goodbye, politics. Goodbye, stardom. Mayor Goodboy is turning over a new leaf, and this time he's going bad. Maybe even bad to the bone. Mayor Goodboy might not be as good as the town of Greenwood thought. In fact, it turns out that Abby and Aaron's favorite very good boy might actually have been a bad boy this whole time. This series is done by Dave Scheid, Miranda Harmon, and Lyle Lind. All right, so Dave Scheid, I'm a fan of his work over at Oh Yeah Comics and collaborations with Scoot McMahon and all that fun stuff. And when I heard about Mayor Goodboy, it was one of those that, regardless of Dave's name and Miranda Harmon's art, when I see something called Mayor Goodboy and I saw that image of that first graphic novel, based off of I think it's loosely based off of a real story where some town actually, made a dog a mayor or something, and then they ran with that and made this fun fictional story. And but there's a world where the dog still acts like a dog, but also acts like you and I. So even without the creative team, this was definitely something that I was going to pick up. And these are all books that I just devour in one sitting. They're super fun, great for all ages. Um, as we jump into Mayor Good Boy Turns Bad, we get a little flashback. There's certain things I'll kind of tiptoe around, but we do get a little. It's the first page, so I'll show that. We get a little flashback to when Mayor Goodboy, who was just known as Good Boy at that time, to see what his family life was like. And this is the very first page, and just seeing the adorable photo here, and you see the mother, and then you see all of the other little pups in there. And it is so fun to just get that little flashback scene, and that really sets us up for our story. If you've never read these books, there's, I guess, the only concept you really need to know is that this dog is the mayor. Um, any of the characters, the supporting cast and stuff, you pretty much get a good vibe of who they are without reading any of the other ones, but highly suggest, going out and get those other volumes. But we have Abby and Aaron are the two, their siblings that basically in our beginning of our series have befriended Mayor Goodboy and start working and kind of campaigning. We've got another character. Her name escapes me at the moment, but she is like the deputy mayor, and she's working directly in the office and everything. We have Abby and Aaron's parents. That's basically the core cast that we have throughout this series, including Mayor Goodboy himself. But this one, we are just jumping right into it, where there is some suspicion going on that that Mayor Goodboy has been kind of down. People have been noticing a change in his behavior, and he hasn't. He's had a messy office, and he's been bolting out of conversations if he's in a scene with somebody, and just finds an excuse to go somewhere else. So our characters are starting to wonder what's going on with Mayor Goodboy, and at the same time, we find out that there are some very bad things happening around town. I'm really looking at here, just wondering what I want to show and show off. I'll just kind of show off some random stuff. So what I'm talking about just kind of shows off the art style rather than what I'm trying to tiptoe around for the story. Um, but we see basically kind of like a bad version of Mayor Goodboy, who is kind of being very mean around town, and the citizens are reacting to it and just saying, "Wow, Mayor Goodboy is." Here we go. This is one of the panels I was looking for, seeing just how like disheveled his office is and everything like that. People are real worried. So that is the core of the story. Our B story is dealing with Abby, who is also kind of feeling down and depressed, and they're kind of wondering what's going on with her. She's a 10-year-old girl, and they're just kind of talking about, just her, how she feels with the dynamic of her family and her friends, and, her relationship with her brother and such. But there's a whole other family element thing that is going on with Abby and Aaron and the parents that becomes a big important part of this story. I don't want to go further on that one at all. Um, but both of those things actually have a very awesome connection in the overall story. While it's fun, it's funny, it's ridiculous. You got a dog mayor, the dog talks, and there's a lot of poop and fart jokes and stuff like that. So if you're into that kind of humor, there's a lot of that in here. Just a lot of really good moments, and just kind of you know almost I don't want to say it's fourth wall breaking, but just kind of there's just a lot of great moments where the story just stops on a good comedic beat, and then we pick up with it. And whether it's a side character or not, there's just a lot of good uh, tone here with the jokes. But while all that stuff exists in these stories, it actually has a ton of heart, and it tries to teach a lesson. Once again, dealing with actually both of these stories, because once again we had that little tease about where did Mayor Goodboy come from, and the family that he grew up with too. So you definitely get a lot of good lessons here. So it tells a good story. It's a great lesson. I highly recommend this book for everybody. It's an all ages book. It's great for kids to, pick up and read. Read it to them. There's 3 of these books. If you're fans of your Captain Underpants and your Wimpy Kid and was it Cat Dog? Is that what it is? That series, The Investigators, like
Dogman?
all of what's that?
Dog
Is it
man.
Dogman?
Is that what it is?
Because
Dog.
Cat Dog also exists, but that's
Yes,
different.
there is Cat Dog, but it's not as fun as Dog Man. Dog Man's got like
True.
20 some issues.
Dogman's
Yeah.
what I was thinking of, yeah.
Mhm.
He's part dog, part cop.
So like all of those kind of things that are just like perfect like graphic novels for kids to be fans of, awesome series. And these books have been coming out at a pretty good pace, and I hope they do more. But yeah, these are very good, very fun. Highly recommend all 3 volumes of Mayor Good Boy. Whether you're a kid or whether you're 40, you're gonna like these books. All right, that's gonna do it. Jump over.
And same with Dog Man. Lots of fart and poop jokes. And in the last issue that I'm reading right now, it's out in the car. I can't think of them at all, but there was like 2 or 3 poop jokes that little Petey the cat, that's the kid of the evil cat that Dog Man constantly catches, runs around with his friend constantly repeating these poop jokes. So every time Shelly came out of a store and hopped in the car, I'd give her a new poop joke that I'd run off with her. But yeah, those books are fun. Great for all ages. All right, we got Batman Santa Claus Silent Night issue 1. I bought it because I seen this cover and I could not pass it up. I'm like, what's this? Grabbed it. I didn't know it was going to be ongoing. They had like 5 different covers at Flashpoint. But this one grabbed my eye. Starts out with a bunch of carolers just jingling along. And for some reason, one caroler pushes to do one more song, which almost made me think he had something to do with something coming up. But then a bunch of these little, I gotta get a better picture of them. Of course, I'm not gonna find one real easy. Here's a good one. These bat-like creatures, they got one giant fang in their mouth. So they got these single puncture wounds on all these people that they're attacking. And they attack the carolers first as some snow comes down. And so I thought it would have something with the snow effect. It might be a sign that they're coming, but we might find out about that in later issues, because I was thinking this would be a one shot because it's a Christmassy thing and Christmas is already over. But it's Ghost of Christmas Past is the storyline on this one. You got Batman, and I believe this is the one that's his true son. I can't keep up with all the little Robins. But Damon, I believe. Yeah, this is Damien. And we also get Nightwing in here, and I believe Batgirl pops in. Variety of people, but yeah, they show up to deal with these vampire-like creatures to try and figure out where they're coming from. They had to have come from some dimension or something. These things haven't been around in like 300 years. And all of a sudden, there's just one flying around about to attack someone, and a big stake gets launched through its back, through its chest. And then we see, well, in between, well, yeah, okay, that's the page. We see Santa Claus come to help save the day. Apparently, these are creatures that he's been dealing with for many, many years and moves them to dimensions and all this stuff. And something happened that they ended up here, and Zatanna shows up and helps out with the whole battle and everything. And it was a really fun. I vaguely remember reading about this issue and saying I'm just going to wait and get the trade when it comes out. And then I seen this and thinking it was a one shot and grabbed it, and didn't realize till I got home that it's an ongoing. But I love that I did pick this up because I don't have any other Marvel books or DC books, I mean, sorry, that have this Keith Geffen centerpiece in it. This memorial to him. And I really, really like this. I know lots of great different things from different creators in here talking about Keith, which is a wonderful creator. that we lost, and he did if you want to find out his last words and stuff, he did a fun little thing after he passed on his Instagram and stuff. So, but yeah, this is really interesting for a DC. I'm not big on the Batman, though. I don't follow him unless it's like a Scooby-Doo Batman or something like that, or something that catches my eyes. But this one was, if it wasn't for that cover, I would have never grabbed it, and I would have been bummed that I didn't, because I would have probably forgot once the trade came out. But yeah, I want the rest of them, but I'm gonna have to see how many issues overall, whether I'll finish it off this way or go by trade.
And the way that cover looks, that would fit perfectly in front of your face if you don't want to bag it right away. Because if you hold it up in front of your face, it's once you slightly turn it just for glare. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I snapped a couple photos there to see how that looks, but yeah, that's why you check out Crimson Cowl Comic Club on YouTube, so you can see that, because hearing it is just half the fun. Right? All right. So yeah, that looks awesome. It's a great cover, and
And I'm looking online, and it looks like there was 4 issues in that series.
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably cheaper just to buy them individually than wait for the trade.
and then you know, this will be related, but I'm in a Gilmore Girls rewatch, and you know, Lorelai and Rory were out of the country. They were in separate countries when Christmas was happening, so they put a pause on Christmas and said, "Let's wait till you're back." So even though this series is still going and it's after Christmas, all you got to do is just hit that pause button on Christmas and celebrate it whenever you want. So
Yeah, that's why they have Christmas in July, Christmas over Easter.
perfect. All right, let's jump over to Jim. What you got for us?
I'm going to talk about Batman Catwoman, the Gotham War series. It's a little strange. There were 2 books in the Batman Catwoman Gotham War series. They were called Battle Lines and then Scorched Earth, which ended it. In between, there were 2 books called Batman Catwoman, the Gotham War, Red Hood, #1 and #2. And then the story also continued for 2 issues in each the Catwoman series and the Batman series. So there's some tie-ins there. The Batman and Catwoman series pretty much take the story from their angles. They don't necessarily add a whole lot to the story itself. So these we'll mostly talk about these main 4 issues then. This happens after the Justice League has been returned to the world, when they were gone, and the Titans had taken over, and now the Justice League's back. Bruce is back. He's continuing to lose his fortune. He's losing the manor. Somebody bought the Wayne Manor, and he's out in the world trying to make his own way from these little mini bat caves that he's stashed around the city in different spots. He's working with most of the Bat family, and crime has really been down recently, especially violent crime. But that is because Catwoman has taken pretty much all the henchmen that used to work for all the other bad guys and is training them as burglars. And they will go out and they will rob rich people only. They will do non-violent crime. They won't kill. They won't do anything. They're just learning to steal enough to take care of themselves without going in for any of the violence. So violent crime in Gotham City is way down. And the Bat family is kind of like, so do we back this? Do we, this is a good thing? But Batman's like, no, it's still crime. We can't live with it. And it's like, Jason does not like that. So Red Hood firmly goes in with Catwoman on her plan to continue this, because as long as people aren't dying, this is a good thing. He doesn't care about whether they're robbing or not, So he helps train some of the Catwoman's burglars. And then things go bad because Arkham has a breakout. A lot of the people get free. And then the guy that bought Wayne Manor appears, and it is none other than the eternal Vandal Savage, the caveman who was given eternal life by a rock that fell in his path way back in prehistoric times. And he's been alive since then and has been a long-term enemy of Batman. He has bought Gotham or Wayne Manor and now has access to the Batcave. So he is handing out all the tools that were in the Batcave to these villains. And one of Catwoman's main allies in training these was a woman who turns out to be Scandal, Vandal Savage's daughter. So the cat burglars have been infiltrated and are now being put into service to rescue further fragments of this same meteorite that gave Vandal his original powers. They are gathering them together in one place for a reason that we'll see later. But in the meantime, Bruce captures Jason because he has to get him away from this. He has a plan to save Jason from himself. And he has, like in typical Bat planning, has come up with a plan to rescue Jason from the bad path he's gone down. And he basically reprograms his brain against his will. Catwoman and Dick find out about this, and they decide that he has gone too far. Catwoman rescues Jason, and Dick does the ultimate override and removes all of Bruce Wayne's access to all the Bat computer capabilities that he has had over the years. So he is completely out in the cold. The rest of the Bat family are kind of torn by, do we go against Batman? Do we work with Catwoman? What's going on? But in the meantime, violence has started sprouting up against Gotham City again. Eventually, Tim is taken prisoner by a group consisting of Professor Pig and Two-Face and Killer Moth and Firefly and a few others, And when they find out, Batman and Catwoman decide, okay, it's time. We have to put aside our differences. And he says, okay, family, you go rescue your brother. I'm going to go after Vandal Savage. And Catwoman says, well, I'm going to go take care of my people and try to save them. She finds out that she can't really do anything because the ones that are either in too far or have returned to their former bad guys that basically are acting like henchmen again. So in the last moment, she returns and she's standing on a Batman goes and he takes down Vandal Savage. And you find out that the purpose of them gathering these fragments together was to pull down another meteorite of the same material that is going to crash into Gotham so that Vandal Savage can re-up his powers again. They cannot contact Superman. They cannot contact the Justice League. There is nothing the Bat family can do to stop a meteorite falling. Jason, who has basically been secured in one of the miniature Bat caves to try to prevent him from acting against any of these wishes that Bruce has wanted. He is listening to everything happening on the radio, and he sees the Batwing in the hangar. He breaks loose. He gets into the Batwing, and he goes and crashes the Batwing into the meteor. So it basically destroys the meteor, but lots of small fragments come down. They cause a big crater. Vandal Savage seems to be eliminated for the time being, but Catwoman is missing in the meantime. Weeks later, Batman sees her silhouette up on the rooftops, and he gets up there, and she has left a message for him. And he goes out hunting and finds out that the Riddler has set things in motion to put Batman on a track back to hunting the Joker. And if you remember, a few years ago, we did the story where there were 3 Jokers. He reminds Batman, or Batman always remembered that there were 3 Jokers, and it's sending Batman off on a new quest to find Joker, who is behind all of this, apparently. So that was the war between Batman and Catwoman in the Joker War, where it ends with them kind of becoming allies again after many years to months of being on the ropes after their failed wedding relationship a few years ago.
Yeah.
And this was actually published a few months ago, and I just got it. You know, it was a comiXology thing recently, so I don't know where the story has gone since then, but
You good? All right. We will jump over to the next one here. Now, it is slightly coincidental why I'm bringing this one to the table in the same week that versions of Mickey and Minnie from Steamboat Willie have become public domain, even though this is unrelated to that, as this is protected under parody and satire. But I am here to talk about something called Michael Mouse. Mitch Lemire's Michael Mouse follows the story of David Duck as he gets roped into completing one final job by his old pals Goonie and the titular Michael Mouse. Betrayal, abandonment, and murder abound in this action-packed drama. It's a story so fraught with the catastrophe and angst that you'll forget you're reading a cartoon. This is by Mitch Lemire. Lemire. Something like that. All right. In the previews, I think we had called this out. Somebody did. I did. Kirby did. Somebody mentioned this one here. Something called Michael Mouse, and you see has like a little golden book kind of treatment with the gold binding there, and and just like, what the heck is Michael Mouse? And in the opening, I'll read this from Mitch. The first 2 pages of Michael Mouse originally aired on Instagram on November 10th, 2020. It was never meant to be more than 2 pages, but it quickly got shared around and soon became clear that the story had to continue. It eventually wrapped in October 20 of 2022, and now you hold in your hands a printed version. Thank you for your support, and thank you to Floating World, who published this here. And also, Don't Tell Walt. Dedicated to Alex Graham, Rob Mursky, and Jason Levivian. So I dove into this once I realized, all right, everyone's been talking about Steamboat Willie and the early versions of Mickey and Minnie Mouse being in public domain. This was a great time to dig this out of the stack and read it. This is very mature, very graphic, very violent. So for anybody who is, this is enjoyable, even if you're a hardcore Disney fan, but with the asterisk that you could also, enjoy these characters just being extremely like misused in the sense, this is all done through parody and satire. So just prepared for what I'm about to explain. There'll be a couple things I'll show off in the art here so you can see what it is. But yeah, so this is Michael Mouse. Michael Mouse, who may or may not look like somebody. I gotta see which page I'm actually trying to show here. That's what I want to show up on the top. Michael Mouse may or may not look like another cartoon mouse we're familiar with, is calling up David Duck, who may or may not look like a cartoon duck that we know of, and basically just trying to get David to, come back in for one last job. We have Donna Duck, who is the wife of David Duck, and may or may not be, similar to a cartoon female duck that we know. Donna Duck is knows of this past. David has dealt with Michael Mouse. We just get some implications that some shady stuff is going on. We get a vibe that he's kind of like an old like frat buddy or something, that it's just like, all right, you guys must have, did a lot of stuff when you were younger, and now, David broke off from that friendship and settled down, got a family, they have kids. But when Michael Mouse is calling to try to get David to come out and hang out, you start to get the suspicion that there's some pretty shady stuff going on, and the shady stuff is simply drug related. They're all, doing drug deals and things like that. We get to the house, and we meet a dog on the front lawn who is looking rather sickly. Um, a dog named Neptune, who may or may not look like another cartoon dog of a similar, type planet name that we're familiar with. Um, and we really just get real gritty with these characters. If you can have fun with it, it's definitely, you're going to get some laughs out of here, just because it's just the exact opposite what you would imagine, their counterpart characters to be doing. Um, but if you like to keep the wholesome Disney aspect to it, definitely this book is not good for you or your stomach, because it can get pretty gruesome. And but David Duck basically kind of gets roped back into this one final job. And from there, David, Michael, and Goonie. Every time I say Goonie, it's just hilarious. But just a little shot of Goonie, who may or may not look like a talking dog that we may or may not have seen in the cartoons before. Um, they go out on this journey, and all three seem to have just bad history with each other. Nobody quite gets along. You can never quite trust which character is on your side at any given point. What I do like, the style. I love the drawing. I love you know the gritty take on all these characters, and most importantly, just the panel layout, just of every single page. Um, and it was done for Instagram, so that makes sense that there was most likely just one panel per slide. And but yeah, the fact that you get 12 images um, across each page, I just love that aesthetic, I guess, is what they've developed for the story. Um, I won't reveal. I won't talk about anything else plot related. I'll just tease that you see a boss that they are doing some drug dealing with, who may or may not look like a character we've seen in cartoons before. They've definitely had some good nods to this one. I will reveal, because I think it really just sets the.
Looks like he froze up a little bit.
Did I freeze?
Yeah, I got that too. I wasn't sure if that was just me.
Okay, so I didn't see anything on your guys's. You guys are frozen on my end. Can you hear me? All right, it's possible that some stuff that I said did not get recorded. We had some technical difficulties on my end, so not sure what future Anthony's going to have to deal with. So I'm just going to kick up the review, start it at this point. The other thing I will tease, I don't want to tease anything more about the plot of this. They do a lot of good nods to, Disney related stuff. And there's like a Goof Troop, one of those characters you can see, a lot of those guys. I think he's a bouncer in here. But they're referring to needing to go to the Magic Kingdom as they make their deal. And I'm going to reveal this because I think it's a selling point for somebody that maybe is on the fence, and you just see the version of Magic Kingdom in here, and it's nothing graphic for the video audience here, but I'll try to show it off. But the Magic Kingdom is a strip club, uh, which
Oh,
when I saw that, I had that similar reaction of just kind of had to put the book down. I was laughing because they're talking about the Magic Kingdom, and then I wasn't really thinking about ahead of time, what it was going to be or something, and yeah, then it ends up being that. So it has a castle that may or may not look like a castle we've seen, that just also says girls, girls, girls. So, anyways, Michael Mouse is ridiculous. It's crude. It's absurd. It's graphic. It surprisingly has a touching story as well. It focuses mostly on David Duck and his family and choosing, a shady past or a good life with the family, and it shows the consequences to putting all of that on the line, and whether somebody should give into old habits and addictions. And it yeah, surprisingly, as absurd as the setup is of all this stuff, it actually has it's a pretty grim kind of wake up call, I guess, just to kind of show how bad life can get if when you're dealing with addiction and all that stuff, done through cartoon characters that we may or may not have seen in there. All right, it's not my book. I don't know why I'm trying to protect it, but anyways, this was a lot of fun. It was a surprise. If you have an open mind to ridiculous storytelling, Michael Mouse just might be for you. All right, Kirby, you have the final reviews here, so take us home.
All right, we got from Boombox, Michael Dialina's Zawa and the Belly of the Beast #1. Another one I picked up from Flashpoint the other day. It's a issue 1. I figured, what the heck? It had a goofy character on the cover. I want to know more about it. Fun little character on the back that had me intrigued. And we start out with a gentleman just going up to this dark cage and taking some munchies to some curious little creature that's stuck behind the bars. And we find out that, well, that was 10 years prior. We're going to jump into this new city that's got this mayor that controls everything. It sounds kind of like it's a floating city. I'm not sure yet. They don't give you a faraway view, but they kind of talk like that it's like a contained city. But it's mostly all food related. Almost every building has some type of burger advertisement or something. I don't know what this tree character is. It has a face. It's a big giant character compared to the normal human-sized characters. There's just all kinds of goofy things going on in the city, so I wanted to know more about it. But we get a lot of focus on food, and we got this chef character and these runners. And this is a runner here, and he runs the food deliveries for our chef character. This guy, this is the runner guy here. And then I got the chef character here that's making food, and he's doing deliveries for him. I don't know what is completely up. This is the Blackbird Bakery, but they have this cat that in this scene saves a chicken from getting run over by a car, and the cat's got like jingle bells on his tail. The chicken's spitting out a bunch of eggs as the cat's saving them from getting run over. And so it's like the first time the chicken laid eggs in a long time. They're struggling for food to support themselves unless they have some type of thing in the mayor's little clique and working for certain setup departments, but they got their own thing going on. And then they make a plan to break into one of the mayor's storage areas and steal some grub. And of course, they have tons of really nice food in there, and half of it's just rotten away, but they don't care because they're the rich. So the poor are trying to survive. But while they're snagging some food, some security comes in and kind of catches them a little bit. And so they go separate ways to try and get away from everything. And one character decides to jump down a chute. And when he gets to the bottom of the chute, it's this big, stinky dungeon area. And we got this gobbledygook creature that's down there. And that's the creature that you see in well, the person that went up and fed the creature in the beginning was the cook guy. You could tell by the hat on his head who he was, and he's also the one that jumps in the hole and falls down into the tunnel. So this creature just comes out, and he's all worried about it because you heard stories about the creature and everything here. I mean, the creature doesn't mind him because he's been helping the creature out and feeding the creature. So the security guards come in, they try to zap the creature back away from everything to go after the other guy. And when they do, the creature kind of does some things to help him and stuff. And we learn more about the characters, and just, it's basically like they call it the last guardian of the mountain. So I'm guessing this creature was something that was tortured and abused, probably some relative of the mayor or something that he threw in a dungeon and just turned into this type of creature character or whatever. But she has different faces when she's happy and stuff, unlike the scary faces we see. But yeah, the creature's got me curious. I want to know more about it now. Again, it was one I picked up just because of the looks of the cover and stuff. What the heck, see what it's about. And I'm sucked into it, so I'm gonna have to see how many issues this has and decide if I'm gonna go trade on this one also, or if I'm gonna go individually. But definitely a fun story. It's new, different, interesting, something a little bit different, but it's like, it looks like Michael Dialanis does pretty much all of it. And you got Eric Harbaugh as an editor and stuff, but lots of covers, including, of course, Scotty Young. I think this is what I remember, was seeing his cover for this back in the day. Yeah, so check that out.
All right, looking, hold on here. Looking at CLZ, looks like 5 issues, with the 5th is solicited for March. So I don't know. There's at least 5.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
Well, speaking of March, we're going to start talking about books that are going to come out in March and beyond. So let's jump over to the news.
And now the news.
Welcome to the previews preview. This is part 1 of 2. We're going to dive into the Marvel catalog first, and then over to DC Comics and see what we are all interested in. I talked about the awesome miniseries run of the recent Ms. Marvel, of her, her death leading into her rebirth, becoming a mutant, and Aman Vellani, who plays her in the MCU on Disney Plus as well as the movies. She was a co-writer of the comic book, and I was so excited to see that she is back with a co-writer of Sabir Prezada, and with art by Scott Godlewski for Ms. Marvel Mutant Menace number 1 of 4. So we are getting another 4-issue miniseries. I've seen Marvel doing this a lot, which I appreciate. I like it, just kind of, rather than giving Kamala a new ongoing series that could go anywhere from 10 issues to 30 issues. They're just doing the story arcs, coming out with the trade paperback, coming back a couple months later, doing another one. I like that method because at least it allows them to complete a story. So Ms. Marvel, Mutant Menace number 1. Excited to see Aman writing more comics. Jump over to Kirby.
All right. Web of Spider-Man number 1. Zeb Wells, Cody Ziegler, Steve Fox, Alex Segura, and Greg Weisman. 2024 is primed to be one of the biggest years in Spider history. And hopefully Rhino. And you've only seen the tip of the iceberg. In the pages of this one shot, we're going to lay out some of the biggest upcoming Spider stories and characters in the Spider-Verse through the beginning of 2025. And you aren't going to want to miss this. And it's going to be teasers and stuff like that. But the reason this grabbed me is they got this Greg Capullo cover where he's got Spider-Man coming through the funnel web. I just love that because you never see that. You just always see the regular spread out spider webs and stuff. And the shooting webs, you never get to see a nice funnel type picture. for some reason that just caught my eye, and since it's a one shot, I think I'm gonna grab it. So,
Cool perspective, yeah.
yeah.
All right, jump over to Katie. Anything from Marvel?
I don't see anything new from Marvel that I think, but I am open to it.
All right, you cut out there a little bit, but I assume you said you're open to any club picks. So, all right,
Yes.
jump over to Jim. Anything from Marvel?
I don't have the catalogs, haven't looked at the catalogs. I'm just sticking around to see if there's anything you guys find that I might be interested in as a club pick as well.
Okay. I have one more pick from Marvel here, and this one's a collection. Mini Marvel's Spidey Sense graphic novel trade paperback, written by Chris Giarrusso, Sean McKeever, and Mark Sumerak, penciled by Chris Giarrusso as well. All ages fun, featuring the wild and crazy kid counterparts of Marvel's greatest heroes, as illustrated by brilliant cartoonist Chris Giarrusso. Hold on. Giarrusso. Spidey gets the paperboy blues as he risks his life trying to deliver to the Green Goblin's house, struggles to make his fellow heroes pay their bills, and faces losing his route to his dreaded rival, Eddie Brock. But just wait until he meets his amazing co-workers, Iceman and Firestar. Plus a bunch of other stories. This is $14, 112 pages. I assume this is collecting all of the mini Marvels from the past. I don't think I've read any of this. Maybe I got an issue or two, but Chris Giarrusso, man, Gia Russo has a lot of awesome designs with these characters and stuff, and I think that's just enough to pick this up. So I am going to pick up Mini Marvels by Chris Giarrusso. Nope, I don't know why I tried. Kirby Konex.
You got it right. I think it's Giarrusso.
First time I said it, but every time I repeated it, I got it wrong. Go
on. This one, I'm going to probably wait for the trade on it, but I'm curious about it. It's Weapon X-Men. It's a 4-issue run by Christos Cage, Yildiray Sinar. Which I'm not doing much better with names there. But a multiverse of Logans bands together. In original X-Men, you saw the Phoenix recruit the young X-Men to fix yet another time-displaced disaster. But now the threat is deadlier than ever, and it's time to call in the X-Men's big guns. He's the best there is at what he does. The best there is, best ever will be. In every universe, does it in, and this job is too big for just one of him. Wolverines from across the multiverse converge to take on a foe even the Phoenix fears. But with friends like Zombie Wolverine, who needs enemies? So I'm kind of curious, since it's 4-issue run, but I'll wait on it. You said you want me to finish it off, right?
That's all I had for my end.
Yeah, I only have one more and then another mention. Aliens, What If, #1. What if Carter Burke had lived? For years, fans of James Cameron's legendary Aliens question whether Carter Burke, a company man, more hateable than the Xenos themselves, had actually survived the traumatic events on the terraforming colony Hadley's Hope. Now the actor behind the beloved villain, Paul Reiser, joins his son Leon and the star-studded team of writers and producers Adam F. Goldberg, Brian Volk-Weiss, and Hans Radionoff for a journey back to Hadley's Hope and the twisted escape of a man who should have died. It's like all the actors and musicians are taking over writing, apparently, so we don't need no new writers. But they have done a good job, so I'm curious how this one comes out.
Yeah,
And then okay, go ahead.
Anytime anybody mentions Paul Reiser, I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, the comic book writer."
And then same with Adam F. Goldberg,
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt. Free comic book days coming out when these start to come out, but they have like this Blood Hunt X-Men. It looks interesting to me, but they're starting to tease us with a few different free comic book day things that are coming out in the near future. So That's coming up fast. It's a new year.
Cool.
That's
All
it
right.
for my mind.
So we can only cover a couple of the things that we're interested in. Anything else from Marvel or just ongoings and things like that. But we highly suggest you to check out the catalogs for yourself and ask your local retailer, your preferred online retailer, wherever you get your comics, and check out all of the listings. We're going to jump over to the distinguished competition with DC Comics, but let's kick it off with Katie. Do you have anything from the DC catalog?
Yes, I do. Prime #1. That looks cool. It's about a young girl who has been in foster care and gets kind of put from house to house through no problems of her own, and then she gets adopted and meets some social workers who are going to try and help her. And the cover shows a preteen girl with a bunch of spray paint and colors. And I don't know anything about this character, if it's new, if it's been around before, but I thought that it was, an interesting plot for a story. It's written by Jennifer Murrow and Thomas Krajewski with the art by Gretel Lusky. So that's Primer #1.
I think we'll have some more information because Jim, you checked this out, right? Have you read this one? You haven't? So
No,
you did, Kirby?
there was, I believe, a free comic book day teaser. I
Okay.
fell in love with it. I wanted to get it, but I think it was oversized in format. So that threw me off. And then when I seen them bring it back with issue 1, I'm like, well, this has to be the trade. So I was going to get it. And I'm like, no, it's issue 1, but it is standard comic size. So now I might grab it. We'll see.
Yeah.
My memory of this is that it was like a graphic novel or something, and now that they say now available in
That sounds
periodic
right.
format, so
Okay.
I'm wondering if they're kind of double dipping, but just giving individual issues on it. I could be wrong with that. That was because I think I've seen
Yeah.
this before. I've never read it, but yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was about 6 months ago or so when it
Okay.
originally was posted. But yeah, I don't know if it might have been trade format.
because they have the same thing right next door with the Batman and Robin and Howard, which I know, like I've seen these things before, but I think they're being reformatted for some single issue standard size releases.
They both came out on the same free comic book day year. I know because I got both of them.
The
All right,
release date was June, so
all right. Let's jump over to Jim. Anything from DC?
again, I don't have the catalog, so I'm just sitting around listening to see if there's anything coming up that sounds interesting to me.
Okay, well, I teased this in a previous segment for something that I think has club discussion written all over it. Not that one. Nope. Surprisingly, that's not what I'm saying. It's on my list. It's tagged, but this is called. It's an April special, but it's Ape-Rill. Ape-Rill special. This is a DC Apes book, a one-shot book that is all ape-related characters, and I tried reading the synopsis because it's full, and they warn you that it's full of ape puns, and I'm like, oh, this will be fun to read on the podcast, and I'm like, I am gonna just butcher this left and right. So I'm only gonna read a small portion, but it says caution: an absurd. See, I already screwed up on the first one. An absurd amount of bad ape puns are incoming. Please be ape advised. All right, that's all I'm saying because the rest just gets ridiculous. But this is has a couple creators on it, and it just you see Detective Chimp in there, Gorilla Grodd. There's a Superman ape, and there's a bunch of stuff. But here is the interesting thing that I guess is a real thing. In a Starburst bubble in the advertisement, it says, "Don't miss the banana scent variant cover." And I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
So I'm like, wait a
oh.
minute, what's going on here? And sure enough, a banana scent variant cover is listed, and it's all a big gimmick. It's crazy. It's goofy. I'm in for a good gimmick. I am definitely going to get this April special from DC Comics, and I nominate it as a possible club discussion. Anybody else interested?
Yes, I am
Sure.
going to get it.
Yep. I always love the DC issues like that, the
Yeah.
mashup, where they mash up all these stories. Yep.
The 48 pager for $5.99, plus once again that a banana scent variant cover, which unfortunately for digital collectors, that you might just have to have an actual banana on your iPad or Nook or something. So, but I took
Be
a snap
healthier
of
for
that
me.
photo there so I could post that in the club for everybody to find out. But that will be a club discussion in a future episode. Um, Most likely, it says it's on sale at the end of March, so we'll obviously save it for April, as that's when we'll all get our copies. So that is my nomination for club pick, and it will be. All right, let's jump over to Kirby.
Yeah, I already did my previews for my other podcast, but I haven't posted them yet.
Okay.
And when I read that, I'm like, I'm not rereading it again. I was
Yeah.
hoping you or someone else would read that one. But yeah, I decided I backed off it. I wasn't going to get it. And then I got the DC Connect catalog last week, and they got the Monkey King in there. So with the Monkey King being part of it, I have to get it. He's even got one of the covers, but I want the banana scented cover if it's not a different price. But yeah, we'll see. I'll definitely pick that up just since you're going to do club pick with it.
Yep.
But I don't have nothing else other than the other one that you were going to talk about too. So
Go ahead.
we got Batman Dark Age #1. This is done by Allred and Mark Russell. Mike Allred, I should say. Meet Bruce Wayne, Gotham's favorite delinquent son, in an origin story like no other. Witness the boy become a dark knight shaped by a city in turmoil as it marches towards its prophesized doom. Set against the backdrop of actual historical events, Gotham comes alive, filled with the iconic characters who loved and hated Batman over the years like you've never seen them before. Spinning out of the Eisner-nominated Superman Space Age, Mark Russell and Mike Allred return to give audiences a look at Batman as a figure in American history fighting for justice in a world gone mad. I loved Superman Space Age. It took me back to the Superman I enjoy, and I hope this will do the same exact thing with Batman. And I just love Allred's artwork. So I mean, it could be any character I don't like, and I'd still probably buy it. But
Yeah, it's knowing that they're doing this, I'm hoping for a Wonder Woman one. I'm hoping they just kind of go through the catalog and kind of do like Mark Russell does such a good job, working like reading that Superman. Like he definitely knew all of the boxes that the Allreds love to check when it comes to their personal fandoms and interests and favorite decades and stuff, and like they infuse that into their work, and it just seems like it's a perfect combination. So yeah.
Took me right back to my teenage days and stuff. I loved it.
And even though our episode of this will be out after the fact, but it'll be on the YouTube channel or the Word Balloon feeds. But Kirby, Mike Allred is finally going to be on John Suntra's Word Balloon this coming Monday. He's going to do a Word Balloon live on Monday. I didn't get a time yet, but he advertised it at the end of the Franco episode that he just did the other night. And so yeah, Mike Allred doesn't do a lot of the interview stuff, but he always admits that he wants to, get into the new millennium and get into the future and do more of that stuff that he's typically shies away from. But this has been a long time coming, and I can't wait. So that's going to be on Monday night. But by the time people hear this version, that episode will already be up. So you're most likely going to hear him talk about this and show things off, hopefully, for this.
Yeah. And if you missed out on Superman Space Age and your shop doesn't have it, they do have it back in this catalog. So they will have more copies coming out in a few months.
Yeah, I double dipped on that hardcover there. It was beautifully done. I can't wait.
I got the trade and the singles is what I got.
Yeah. All right, so yes, we're definitely excited for that. Let's now.
That's it for me. Yep.
Okay, so that's it for you, Katie. Anything else from DC?
No, thank you. Aside from a club pick, that's all.
Okay, and I found it. During all that excitement, I removed my tab, but I found it. So the last one that is on my list here is Suicide Squad Dream Team #1. Now, the reason I'm bringing this is because Nicole Maines is the writer on here. Nicole Maines is the actress who brought Dreamer to life in the Supergirl television show. I've mentioned her time and time again. She, debuted her stories in the DC Pride, celebrated issues that they release in summer, and there's a Dreamer graphic novel, I think, that is coming out. I know I pre-ordered it, and I would assume she has written that as well. But yeah, I'm excited. We were talking about the actors coming in and writing all the comic books, and but it's such a unique experience where you have like Aman Vellani, who is playing Kamala on screen and then writing Kamala in the comics, and then you have the same here with Nicole Maines and stuff, and bringing the character into a Suicide Squad story. So Harley's in there, possibly Bizarro Superman.
Yep.
Waller's right there on the cover. But yeah, I wouldn't normally be excited about a Suicide Squad book, but I see Nicole's name on there and Dreamer right there on the cover. So
I love Harley and Bizarro, but I don't know anything about Clock King and the other characters, so I was iffy on that one.
okay, but yeah, I'm just here to continue supporting Nicole's. The Dreamer character. I'm fairly certain was created originally for the TV show, so it's so cool that that's one of the rare cases that they bring that character into the comic universe, and yeah, I'm excited to check it out. So that's on my list. All right. So once again, like I said, with the Marvel one, there's so many things out there in these catalogs that we can't cover. We've been a little, scarce on selecting some that we're excited about, but a lot of things being ongoing. Some of the, my personal taste, I'm, not reading as much, and maybe picking up some more independent stuff, and so we can only cover a couple things, but highly recommend checking out the full catalogs. All right, jump into the promo round here as we wrap up the show. I'm going to start with an upcoming event. I am going to be doing Comic Verse, which is a comic book convention and toy show in New Berlin, Wisconsin, and that is on Sunday, January 28th from 10 to 3, $4 admission. Kids 12 and under are free. I'm going to be there solo this time. Unfortunately, David won't be joining me for that one, but I will be having original art, digital art poster prints. I'll have a limited selection of some bookmarks and some newer original drawn bookmarks if you want to use them as a bookmark. I don't have an example of a finished one, but I have a bunch of cut cards off of some backing boards that I was doing something else with, and I saved them, and I just started drawing on them and coming up with some extra things to add to the art table. But yeah, I've never done this convention here. I've only done the Mighty Cons, and I'm excited to check out Comic Verse. They mostly have old comics and toys and the flea market style stuff. They say often they'll maybe have one or two artists there, so it's possible that I could be the only artist having the table, which could be a very great thing, being like, hey, here's something different, or that nobody cares because they just want old issues of Daisy Duck or something. I'm excited to check it out. It's pretty affordable to table there, so I'm going to check it out. New Berlin, Wisconsin. The information will be attached to the YouTube video as well to see that, and on my social medias. And then David and myself, and I'm fairly certain David Lloyd II, now that he's a comic artist and creator now, rather than just calling him Little David or Other David or Second David, now I'm calling him David Lloyd II. All three of us are planning to be at the Mighty Con in Milwaukee. That is February 10th on a Saturday, mightyconshows.com. So those are some upcoming appearances. CrimsonCowl.com for info and original web comics. And then once again, reach out to us wherever you're finding this podcast. We'll get the message over to David. David just recently joined Instagram. He's new to that platform, but there's several ways to reach out to him to order a physical copy with a possible sketch too, if they have some of those left. So crimsoncowl.com for all of that information. Crimson Cowl Comic Club on iTunes for the audio version. Subscribe, rate, and review. Crimson Cowl Comic Club on YouTube if you want to see all of our faces as we show off what we're reading. You know, sometimes animals show up and cool shirts and props and toys and fun things like that. So check out the YouTube version of Crimson Cowl Comic Club. The Crimson Cowl, all one word on Instagram, Crimson Cowl Comic Club at yahoo.com. If you want to reach out to us, especially if you want to place an order for that comic book, I run that email, but I'll forward all that information over to David, and he can settle up for you to get a hold of that printed comic book. Kirby has a spin-off podcast called Under the Cowl of MS. You want to talk about what's been going on over there or what you have coming in the future?
I've been enjoying the holidays too much, but we got a little bit of comic reviews and a little bit of unpacking. And now that I think about it, I got 2 unpackings. I forgot to post it. I'll have to put up before this comes out. But look forward to the next month because I got a few new ideas that I'm going to try and play with. So hopefully they're going to actually come to fruition. So
Cool.
a lot to do with comic reviews and stuff like that. So.
Excellent. So yeah, check out Under the Call of MS wherever you get your podcast, both audio and video over on YouTube. I host a drawing show called Cartoonist by Night. We took a holiday break for all the busy people with the families and all the celebrations and all that stuff that comes with it. But we recorded a brand new episode that should come out fairly close to when this episode drops. But we invited Adam Crone, who I had met through Oh Yeah Comics, and he's a toy designer. He's improving his art and kind of switching into developing some cool stuff for his art game over there. And we invited him to the show. It was a blast. We had some other special guests and things like that. That was a lot of fun. We didn't have a specific topic beyond talking about Adam. So that means we just talked about a lot of stuff. I will tease a series that is not posted yet, but I love Selena Gomez's cooking show called Selena Plus Chef. And so I'm doing a Selena Plus Chef drawing series. And this one I'll reveal on here because it's not it probably won't be posted for another week or two yet. But I drew her in her kitchen setting on her show from HBO Max, or Max as it's called now. And so I did another drawing, a brand new one on that show to add to the series where I'm basically doing Selena plus a cartoon fictional chef. Yeah, I keep doing more. I keep saying, oh, well, I'm done. No, I'll do 2 more. So I've got a
Is
couple.
that the singer, Selena Gomez?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Singer and actor, you know,
Yeah.
Only Murders in the Building.
Wizards of Waverly Place?
Yep. But yeah, she has a cooking show on Max where she did it during lockdown and she wanted to get better at cooking. So they brought celebrity chefs through Zoom. And but now there's a new holiday series in which they show up in the kitchen now. There was one person that showed up in the kitchen in a former season, and that was Gordon Ramsay. So if you know anything about Gordon Ramsay and you put that in with Selena Gomez, who's just in there cooking with her friend, and it ended up being a pretty awesome episode. But it's pretty great. So that inspired me to do a drawing series. So
Did he tear her apart like he does on his TV show?
there are moments that he doesn't hold back too much. You know, I honestly I should just rewatch it tonight. That's how exciting it is. So, but anyways, we are sponsored by Selena Plus Chef. Subscribe to Max. If you use the offer code Mayor Goodboy, you will get absolutely nothing. So, because we're not officially sponsored by them. Anyways, Cartoonist by Night is what I was talking about. So, subscribe to us on YouTube. We have a couple confirmed guests that are excited to do it. We just got to get the schedules lined up and excited to go into, coming up on our Katie popped off there, but hopefully we'll We'll see if she jumps back in. We are coming up on an anniversary. We're at the tail end of our first year, I should say. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're excited to take it into the 2024 as well. Follow the art accounts at Anthony Laatsch, Laatsch. That is it for all of those dang plugs. And if you missed any of those details, all that stuff is in the credits of the YouTube video. So yeah, that is going to do it for this episode. This whole time, yes.
I think we need to start calling the younger David Volume 2.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, David Volume 2. We're gonna have to pitch that to him. That'd be a great name. All right, that is gonna do it. This whole time, I've been a good bad boy.
I've been having a flarking good time with a bunch of strange beasts.
I've been playing fetch with D-Dog.
Did you just threaten my dog?
To be continued.